All right. It's episode 3 of Casual Disasters. Can't even talk already. I have Jacob here in the studio with me down at the Spokane Library. He's an epic human. And I was actually thinking this on my way here. One of the most genuinely kind people I've ever met. Always comes through for me and my students every year, cutting their hair for free with his barbershop, Solitude. We have like an interesting history of like learning or getting to know each other and figuring out how we knew each other.
Yeah.
So I want to welcome him to the studio and then have him kind of, I don't know, introduce yourself, tell the listeners about Jacob.
Hell yeah. First off, thank you. I really appreciate I don't think I've ever had like an intro before.
That's really?
Sick. Yeah. What's our like swear level? Because I have a sailor's mouth.
Oh, you can swear. I put explicit. Yeah. I wondered about this as a counselor. Like, I'm going to be cussing on this. Can I be in trouble for like promoting cussing?
Yeah.
But feel free to cuss because I put explicit on the episode.
Because I speak very like, talk like that aggressively.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Intro. Yeah, I'm Jacob. I go by both. I think I've kind of somewhat gone through a bit of a rebrand.
Rebranding, yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I just as I like go through seasons, I like my associations change a lot, and so I think as like time has gone on, how I view myself, all the way down to like my name, I just feel like that needs to change because I feel like I made a joke with my buddy, like, oh, that was some short hair Jake shit that you were doing back when I had short hair. Then I had long hair. People that knew me long hair Jake. So yeah, I'm Jake, short hair Jake currently. And I'm a barber. I am a simple dude. I don't think I have many like explanatives anymore. I think I kind of fell out of like wanting to be anything other than what I feel like I am, which is just a barber.
That's so funny because I think of you as way more than that. Actually, what's funny is our connection. When I started this podcast, I talked about being neurodivergent, having ADHD.
Yeah.
And then it was funny. I was texting Jake on my way here that I was on a hike and I underestimated how much time it was going to take me to get my car.
Yeah.
And you were perfectly running late.
Yeah.
Like ADHD.
But it worked
twins.
out because that's where like I took advantage of that because I got here at 15.
Okay.
So I had 10 minutes, and in that 10 minutes I immediately just started like exploring. And it worked out. Like,
and that's totally something I would do.
Yeah, and I found out about the cool I can't even remember what they're called, but they're like art that someone that worked at the library was contracting from other like library artists from around the fucking country.
You were just telling me that. I haven't even seen that display yet.
Like book curses, and then they turned into book rhymes because Christians, and then now it's like art, and they inscribe it into books. So if you find a book that's got an inscription, a poem, or a curse in it, fucker's worth some money.
Wow.
Kind of what I gleaned from it. Capitalist
mindset. Yeah, turn every single thing into money is what the capitalists would say. Exactly. Well, I was going to back up to like your journey. I went hiking with my cousin and I was telling her that we have this crazy connection because well, first of all, how old are you? You're like way younger than I remembered.
I turned 25 just a little bit ago.
But you're like already a business owner, which I was saying is so badass. Yeah. This 25-year-old, like how many years have you owned your barbershop?
We actually just hit 2 years. What's the date today? Like the
28th.
28th, yeah. A year or 2 years and 28 days.
Yeah. And I was just saying how impressive that is for someone your age to already be like fully immersed in like running a business is crazy to me. And how brave that would be because, like, you know, traditionally we're told, because you grew up in Spokane.
Yeah, raised.
Yeah, you're my first guest that's actually born, raised in Spokane. I've had a lot of transplant people on.
People that find a home here.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting, like, choosing to come here and stay here.
I think so, too. I'd say even more so than being born here.
Because we're like indebted to Spokane or something.
What else am I gonna do? This is home. Where am I gonna go?
Yeah,
Colorado. I'm good, dude.
I'm curious because that's another thing I talk about. Kind of personally being like that I grew up Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
Colin and I both.
Dude, I've been studying that a lot lately.
Have you?
Yeah, just orthodoxies.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That would be...
Because there's, oh man, I could go in on that. Okay.
I studied, so part of Catholic school on that same time.
St. Al's?
No, All Saints Catholic School.
Oh, yeah.
All my siblings went there except Johnny.
Yeah.
Colin and I was going to say, and Lexi, actually my sister, we were raised in the Catholic school K-8, and you had to take Catholicism, or all religions was required every year.
What do you mean?
So I had to learn every religion, which people are always blown away by that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like... That sounds like there's a community in Spokane that has a religion like that, where it's like there's like a pastor for every religion. And it's a home for every deity.
I joke about Catholics being this kind of... They're just that full of themselves that they're like, we're not going to go begging at your door. So we're not going to be like Jehovah's Witness begging you to join. Yeah. And we're also not going to be afraid to teach you about other religions because we dominate. So like, we're not afraid of you.
That's kind of fucking hardcore, actually.
Except that I am not practicing at all.
No.
So
no, but just
but it's funny to me because I'm like, wow, you guys are kind of like tough. You think like...
It's like the alpha religion.
Yeah. Like... We're not threatened by other religions. We're not threatened by...
Fuck it, dude.
Yeah, you're going to learn it all.
Just like mad dogging their fucking faith values.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's up, dude? Hold a sword against it.
Yeah, so actually that reminds me to back up. So you grew up, raised here.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think keeps you in Spokane?
Okay, so I kind of fell into my positions in life. Even for me, so my faith values, I'm a Christian, and I live and abide in that wholeheartedly, which is why I'm so interested in Catholicism. So my faith values have placed me, what I believe to be, in a position where I've just kind of been at the will of my faith. And I guess to explain that is like, when I was 17, 18, I was super curious about like joining the military, maybe going to a Bible college, maybe traveling and just disappearing and going somewhere far, far away, like New Orleans. And that's not far, far away, but
but that seems big in Spokane.
My mind was just like all over the place. And I remember I sat and I tried to be at Moody. Did you ever hear about Moody?
Oh yeah. I have good friends who've gone there. Yeah. My co-counselor at Yasuhara, Sam, who you've met.
Yeah.
She went to Moody.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. I was 18 and I really wanted to be a pastor. I was so stoked on that. And so like I went down that rabbit hole, didn't like it, didn't feel called there. This is where that faith part comes in, where I try and listen to what people call it a gut feeling. I call it spiritual discernment. So for me, it's just simply like, before I make those big decisions, I'll just sit down and be like, all right, God, is this what I need to be doing? And that's where people call it either a gut feeling. I say that's God talking to me. That's just my simple relationship with him. And he was like, no. And I'm like, really? Bible school? No? Oh, okay. So I wanted to be a fireman. And this is when I was at On Track.
Oh, yeah.
OTA, shout out Scott Sorensen. And and I remember I was told everybody that I was like, I'm going to be a fireman. There's a picture of me senior year holding a little plaque that says fireman on it, like, because I graduated barely. And I was like, that's where I'm going to go. And so I go to the local community college, I test in, I do all my stuff, and I'm like, hell yeah, this is what I'm going to do. But I hadn't talked with the big guy yet. So I sat down and I was like, all right, God, am I doing what I need to be doing here? Like, this seems like, because I wanted to join the military, I had this like servant's heart, and I really wanted to like, a little self-destructively, like throw my life away to like help somebody else. Really pretentious when I was younger. I was like, fuck yeah, this is my mission. I'm gonna fucking die and save someone, and that's my lot in life. And I didn't want to do the military because I just really struggle with authority. And I think as I sat there, prayed, and I was like, is this what I'm doing? Like, is this the self-sacrifice I was looking for? Out of nowhere, being a barber popped into my head. It just, okay, where did that come from? And I gave it to God, and I was like, that's wild. I sat on it for like 30 minutes, just like pondering like the whole lifestyle, the switch that comes from that, how I'm going to be perceived, like the fear of, I've told everybody I'm going to do one thing, and then I'm going to just switch up and do one of the most dramatic switch ups that I can do in my life. And so I dropped out of college right then and there and applied to beauty school. And that ended up blessing me all the way up until this point, where now I'm a business owner in Spokane in a barbershop. Now, when I look at, to like refer back to your question, like, why am I still like in Spokane? Why do I feel drawn back here? I don't think it's a me thing. I just feel like I've been called back here for some reason. I don't look too deeply into it. I don't want to feel mystical about it, but I just feel really passionate about the life that I've built here by being obedient, because I've spent my whole life being disobedient and fucking up a lot and really making a lot of negative decisions. And I feel like the decisions I make in obedience tend to really freaking help me out. And so with my shop, I've already set roots, and that feels like obedience. I'm building up a community within my shop. That feels like obedience. That feels like what I need to be doing here. And I think the longer I stay in Spokane, the more I feel like there's just like these inner turning gears to this city that are so special that I don't think people see. And I think I've been really blessed, you know, with that spiritual discernment of just seeing what isn't obvious to the plain eye. It's got me a lot of opportunities in conversation with people. It's got me a lot of opportunities in business and friendships and any advantages that I have. And so I think I see that in the city, where there's just so many amazing things that are just starting to bubble up. Like, why leave a ship that's just now rising above the waves, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting view, because some people, I think, who aren't doing many things interesting with their life are like, fuck this city, dude. This place sucks. I'm trying to go somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, cool. But like, this place is sick, dude. There's cool stuff here. Like, have you transcended the bullshit?
Yeah.
You have?
Wait, have
you ever transcended? I'm not going to share the secrets, but have you transcended the bullshit?
What do you mean as far as like?
You know that art sculpture?
Yeah.
Have you?
Like, have I transcended bullshit? Or what do you, I want to know more about that.
I don't know if I can say it. I feel like I'm spilling a Spokane secret.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if
I don't know what this is. I really need to know.
I'll tell you what you can apply to it. Like, this is just one of the cool things I freaking love about Spokane. I'm sure it's in every other city. Do you know the sculptures next to, you know, the clock tower?
Yeah.
Across the bridge. And then there's those sculptures, the dude with the wheelbarrow. Maybe it's a girl.
Yeah. If
you lay down and look under her heel, it says transcend the bullshit under the heel.
Really?
So it's an interactive art piece.
Okay.
That artist, all of their work has some form of interactive element to it. So
they've done a bunch of metal sculptures around here, right?
Yeah, look at them closely.
Okay.
Look at them really closely. And I think you're going to be stoked on like what you find. Some of them require breaking the rules. Bullshit.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I like this concept.
Yeah, I don't think it was intended to be that way, and I also don't think it's maybe as safe to do some of them anymore.
I was gonna say, are you maybe the theorist behind this? Have you ever asked the artist, like?
I don't even. Is he still alive?
I have no idea. I can't even remember his name right now.
Me neither.
I learned something about him. I can't even remember where it was, but like just about his sculpting. Yeah, like in Spokane.
It's so interesting. I think that's like, I get stoked on shit like that. Like, I look at the creative stuff, even with this, it was 1892 was the year that this dude was sending out his personal artwork. It was like the Witch's Coven, and he made an art piece.
You mean in the library?
Yeah. Just this thing right here. He called it the Witch's Coven. It was his art piece that he indented into the book, and then he was like, hey, other librarians around the world, send me your cool art pieces that you also made. And he's like, mine was published, so I'm valid, so send me yours, and I just want to have them. And so he started doing trading. And that's a Spokane thing.
Okay.
Transcend the bullshit's a Spokane thing.
See, like I was thinking of like the classic sign that's like that carving of like transcend the bullshit. Is like what I thought you were referring to.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was like specific Spokane.
There's like little adventures you can go on if you're down to break the rules.
Yeah.
Which appealed to me when I was younger.
I was going to say a lot of things that we have in common. Well, right before when I was talking about Catholicism, that's how I feel about Spokane. Like there was like a higher calling of like, I was really drawn to like Mary and nuns and women in power, like in Catholicism, because we worship Mary. Women empowerment. And so, but something always called me back to serving this community. Even though I'm not practicing, like I still have spirituality, I've always felt there was some bigger, higher reason that I needed to stay. And I talked about it like the very first episode, like, I don't know if it's masochism, like I like being in pain, but I like always feel drawn to the students here because just like you, I was an angsty teen. I felt,
human.
like I always felt different or other. I grew up low income.
Yeah.
I was, interacting with wealthy people, though. I was in a Catholic private school.
Same. I had a single mom who was raising me. Stepdad came into the picture when I was like 5 or so. But like leading through these things, my single mom was busting her ass to put me in St. Al's.
Oh, yeah.
We went until we couldn't afford it anymore. And so I was there K through 4, K through 3.
Okay.
And same thing. I have connections now with people that are important people now. They do really awesome stuff, but they were the wealthier off families. Like that I was problematic there too.
Oh yeah. That's something you and Colin have in common.
Just problematic kids. Yeah.
Well, both of you, actually, this is some background that you should tell because that's actually how we met, is your connection to my brother.
Yeah.
Like, so Colin and you met. Yeah. You were just telling me the story recently.
Yeah,
like I didn't know the depth of which you knew him.
I think when I look back, there weren't many people that I thought were like cool.
Yeah.
I was just like, people are kind of boring. The first time I went to get a good haircut, it was sophomore or junior year, and I went to Brickyard, and I happened to just walk in and sit in his chair, and I remember he took a picture of my haircut, and I was like, I didn't know anybody gave a shit about that. Why would anybody, like, it's just a haircut? Because I didn't see it at the time. I was like, why does anybody care about what they just did to my head on my stupid, like, high school boy haircut? But, I look back every once in a while, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's, a little skin fade action. That's sick. It's a good haircut.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, like, that's just such a cool experience. And he had such a, like, nonchalant attitude about everything. Just, like, didn't seem to be affected by any of the working pieces of anything except for, like, what he was, like, stoked on.
Like his art kind of creates,
and I was like,
creatively.
This is interesting. He's, like, lasered on his thing. So I'd just be curious. I think we were friends on either Instagram or Snapchat or something, and I'd like be doing stuff, and he'd be like, that's cool. Or he'd be like, hey, congrats, you graduated, come get a haircut. And I thought that was such an interesting relationship to have because he was so much older than me. And I think even now sometimes I feel undeserving of relationships based on how I view the person. Like if I hold them in a good respect, sometimes if they see me with any reciprocity, I'm like, no, I'm good, dude. I'm not like that. Like you don't need to pay attention to me. But he did, and he moved from Brickyard, and he was like, hey, I'm opening a spot called Valiant. Will you come with? And I was like, oh, absolutely. So I went from one barbershop to the other, completely different vibe, but also similar in that it was just like, it had a vision. Brickyard has a vision. So I work there too. But
I don't think I knew that part.
Yeah, I'll get into that because I remember distinctly asking him one haircut, and I was like, dude, so like, do you make money from this?
Like, why are you even doing this?
He was like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, why the hell do you think I appear here every day and cut hair and stand on my feet 8 hours a day?
It was like, it's like a side hustle, right? He was like, yeah, for sure, dude, you dumbass. But it got me, that was like an unintentional like thing that I was like, interesting. I didn't know this could be successful. How rad. Mm-hmm. But, 17, 18-year-old me, I had blinders on. I was raised way conservative, way sheltered, and I just saw the world in a really not okay way at first. It took me a while to kind of break the blinders off and start to like be less self-centered. Because I think when I viewed the world self-centered, I wasn't being considerate in that moment, right? And as I got more considerate, more aware, more like stoked on the world outside of my own understanding, I was like, dude, there are cool people out here. Dude's making money doing hair.
Yeah.
Fucking, he's able to leave and start a shop. Like, I just started thinking. I was like, how the fuck does this thing that doesn't make sense to me succeed? And shortly after I had that, like, prayer session in the parking lot, and I was like, I'm going to be a barber, I called Colin, because I was like, well, my barber's going to know. And I go, dude, do you think I should be a barber or a Cosmo? And he's like, oh, Cosmo all the way. I was like, oh, okay. Any reason? I don't remember the reason. He just was like, do it. You have more opportunity. So I applied to Glen Dow. 3 months later, I went in, started within like the second or third week. I was the school's vice president.
That's so cool.
Wendy was the president. And I mean, it's like kind of a fake title. We just had responsibility for like organizing events. But
I love
for
that.
me,
though.
I was like, what's up? I'm the VP.
Yeah. I have power
guy.
here in Glen Dow.
Flexing
which
on everybody.
is closing.
Just shut down. What?
My heart broke seeing that. I don't even know if I've talked to
today?
my brother about it closing, like such an end of like a huge staple for Spokane.
I think it's, I don't know. I looked at the post and everybody's like, yo, that's so sad. And I'm like, oh, I fucking didn't like it there.
I think about it for my brother, like it was Martin, right?
Yeah.
That
I never met him.
was such a mentor and inspiration to my brother.
Really?
My brother was going through a lot. I won't like tell his story, but like it's his space to tell it. But that man really opened the door to kind of this restorative practices with my brother when my brother was really going through it. And you know how they had that thing if you miss class or you like
they charge you.
They charge you, and Colin was getting in a space of like owing them a fuck ton of money, I think.
Same.
You can relate to this.
I got suspended.
Yeah, I think Colin probably did too.
Times.
I know that he was really opening this door though for my brother that I don't think anyone ever had, like seeing his potential and saying, yeah, like you're fucking up and we're not gonna allow this, but like you're gonna keep fixing this.
On you, big dog.
Yeah, and I thought that was, I don't know why I always thought of him and respected him for that, like as an educator, and I'm an educator. I was like,
I can see that connection.
I was like, damn, this man is like, I don't know, I was inspired by him. Like he had his own quirks and things. And when he passed away, that was really devastating, you know, like dying by suicide. And like, I know that really impacted that community, or just our Spokane community in general. But I think I've always felt like
a connection to that.
Grateful to him or something. Like what a human that like can be a mess or goes through his own shit. But like for me, maybe that's just like very personal, but I was like, my brother like got this fighting chance because this man saw his potential. Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's a testament to how much like you care so deeply about your family.
Oh,
and how
yeah.
That just kind of inseminates into like your life, like everything.
Yeah.
So to have that level of respect for a place that you haven't been to based on how it affected your life kind of retroactively.
I think I just have like, I
really
love
cool.
Glen Dow for how they take, and I think there are a lot of angsty probably people with mental health and different things that are in that space, and you probably could talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
And the shit that goes down at Glen Dow and maybe why there was volatility or maybe.
I won't even, I think, I started educating there in 2018. So in the legacy.
Oh, you were teaching there?
No.
Oh,
sorry.
You were getting,
I started getting educated,
Okay. And he had already passed?
Yeah, he'd already passed. And all I ever heard was stories. And I never got to experience anything other than like the legacy of what he left behind, which was Glen Dow. And when I started, and I don't think this is any fault of what he created, to be honest, because I really think that he had a passion for education, which is why Glen Dow even came around. But what was left in the wake was a bunch of people who were trying the best to make it happen, and it wasn't really like executing. There was a lot of turnover. There was a lot of just poor decisions made by some of the staff, people that I won't name, just because like it took a lot. Like forgiveness is a easy thing for me, but I think real forgiveness, like acknowledging the people that you really felt like strong feelings towards, and like getting to that forgiveness point is just super difficult. But some of the, like I almost quit the industry after, like Joey Jones saved me. Have you ever met Joey Jones?
I think I have. He was there with my brother, I think.
He might have been an educator.
Yeah, that name sounds super familiar.
He was the Hanzo rep at the time.
Yeah.
And Joey upsets me and bothers me in a way that like a brother does. You know, I've built that relationship with him where I'm like, you bastard, I love you, you know. But when I was there, you know, I feel like I had my mom went there. And so I didn't know that. And she would tell me, like, it was a little bit more well-oiled. She was there when Martin was there. And like, it was, I had these expectations of like, and who I was too. I remember there were so many moments where I had so much self-discovery. I was 18, you know?
Dude, so young.
I was 18. And
so vulnerable.
I was just discovering myself and trying to be not in high school, but like back in a high school environment. And I really struggled. And towards the end of it, as I built up a skill set and I built up my confidence, it started to get shredded away by some of the staff there. And I didn't think that was possible for me because I'm so self-secure when it comes to like my dreams and ambitions. Like sometimes I think lesser of myself, but for the most part, like my security isn't affected by that. Like I'm pretty confident in what I can and can't do. So by the end of that, when I was questioning what I can and can't do, and I felt that like considerably jaded just mindset about everything, I'm like, fuck doing hair, fuck the industry. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just wasted my life. Like, what the fuck am I even doing? I remember Joey showed up and I was like, dude, it's good to see you. And he was like, what are you doing right now? Because I was just in the dumps. And he was like, come with me. I was like, dude, he's like, I don't give a fuck. Get in the car. Let's go. Because I was going to get charged for leaving. Because, you know, you leave at all without permission, you're charged for the day. And Joey was like, fuck that. Get in the car. Let's go. And he like talked to the people. He's like, he's got a day off. He's good. And they were like, okay, dude. And he took me around to all the other salons and just took me on his rounds. And he would do that consistently. Just be like, dude, let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let me get you out of this environment. Let me show you what it's like to be in this industry. Like the real industry, not the beauty school aspect of it, because it's a black hole. If you're in the beauty school, it sucks. You feel like you're in the worst part of high school where you're just under somebody's thumb. You're learning, but it's brutal in beauty school. I don't think anybody that I know of that's graduated beauty school will be like, yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that I've ever heard. I don't know if I've heard someone say that, honestly.
It's a bunch of adults acting like kids. And I was a kid, so I was really disappointed. Because I expected adults to act like adults.
Oh, no.
So I was like, dang, I thought I was going to be the rebellious one. And I was.
Yeah.
I definitely was fucking around. But I expected, like, the 27 and 28-year-olds to... Like, I think of myself
like, rise
now,
to the occasion,
yeah,
maybe,
like,
be a mentor to you.
In some ways.
Yeah.
Instead, it was, like, an unfortunate, like, peer. I didn't want to be peers with people that were acting like me. And I look back, and I'm like, what the fuck was that, dude? And it's any beauty school you go to. It's just kind of how it goes. It's the culture of it. It's a ego industry, man. It's the beauty industry.
Yeah, I think about that. That's just such a superficial, maybe, like, magnifying some of our cultures, like if I'm being honest, like dark underbelly of America, like standards of beauty,
dude,
competing for beauty, how you're highlighting other people's beauty in the superficial way.
Even with like photography, like I'm really into my photography when I take pictures of haircuts, and I have to check myself and be like, am I favoring this person? Am I favoring the haircut? Like, what are my intentions here? Like, am I just like
your own implicit bias? Yeah, that's cool that you're doing that, though.
Am I affecting... And I have to kind of push it away at some point because I'll just rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But, like, I'm like, am I reinforcing negative shit?
Like stereotypes of, like...
Yeah.
Oh, is it, like,
just
I don't know. It could be, like, beauty standard, what
like,
people look like.
Yeah, like, you're more attractive than so-and-so. And it's a... I get into those, like fixations often, and that's where like I'll sit in prayer or I'll sit and journal, and I journal in a really interesting way. Like I don't really write like concise thoughts. I write really broad like concepts down of like how I'm feeling, and I'll just like jot down these like vague ass things, and then I'll readdress it later and see if I can like, I don't know, it helps me really get... I feel like if I take it seriously and treat my problems creatively, I tend to kind of heal from them a little bit easier.
Oh yeah.
And or fix them, because I don't know. It's an interesting headspace to be in. Just like, can I make this problem a creative problem? Can I like benefit from it? Can I create from it? Even in journaling, taking care of myself.
That's how this all started.
Really?
Yeah, I was in such a dark space after some like relational, not the person you know, which I've never mentioned on this podcast, but a previous like really long-term relationship I had gotten out of was like pretty unsafe, honestly, like narcissistic, abusive, all those things. And I was like looking for outlets for art, and I find that art, you know, storytelling is important to me, which is I would say mission, vision of this podcast is like tell people stories. But that is where I was like, that is healing to like creatively find these outlets. So it isn't just like through talk therapy I find that people can heal. I think it's through what you're talking about that we don't really appreciate. Yeah, it doesn't have to be in that sterile like environment, you know? Like it can be out in the earth.
Well, and that I think I maybe misrepresented. Like it's not just when I'm questioning my potential typecasting of my models for my haircuts that I go in and like creatively journal, but it's when I go through a breakup, or it's when I go through a doubt, or it's when I go through a season of depression. That's when I do it. I have to. It's not just me questioning my public morals and values and like the efficacy of my social media page, but like that's not what gets me like, oh, I'm gonna get all introspective and write in my fucking journal.
Yeah.
No, it's just kind of a part of it. But yeah, I agree. Like therapy's great. Yeah. Therapy's amazing. But being able to like build your own box of understanding about yourself and then look from the outside in on that within writing, where you're only like, there's no one that's giving you affirmation except for yourself in that moment. Yeah. I think that needs to go hand in hand with therapy. That's what I've discovered. And that's that emotional intelligence that I've really strived for since I was young. And I think it's the reason why I persevered through a lot of my bad decisions, was because I had that accountability. And I had that yearning to try and just like genuinely pursue to be a better person, because I was viscerally aware of how fucked up I was. I'm not even the same as I was a year ago. And I genuinely attribute it to just like taking that time to reflect like that, to turn it into an art, to turn it into some form of poetry or spoken word.
I think that's super powerful.
I think so too. I'm really grateful for it. Like, I don't know if I want kids. But if I do,
me neither.
If I do, I want them to know that skill.
Oh yeah.
I think about that a lot.
Bestowing that wisdom upon them. Yeah.
Yeah, being like, dude, get creative with your fucking sadness.
Yeah. If you want to heal sadness, get creative with it.
Sad, say some gross shit in a journal and get it out. Like, you sappy little bitch.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sick, dude.
The sappier, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, you said a bunch of things that really stood out to me, and I don't even know where I was gonna go with it, but I was thinking about like that healing process that like creatively, I don't even know. You just said some stuff. Like I find with people who have ADHD or neurodivergent are sometimes in a shame spiral that can block them from doing those creative outlets. Like I know you and I both really want to do stand-up comedy. That's another reason this podcast started, because I was so afraid of
openness.
Yeah, but, well, I hope you actually, like, both of us actually go and do stand-up.
Still self-deprecating.
Yeah, just because I'm like,
you're doing it, dog.
Am I good enough? Like, I haven't studied this long enough. So, like, you know, for the last 2 years, I've been going almost weekly to comedy and still so deathly afraid. And then I found that out about you the other night, that you, too, have, like, been going and writing and not doing it like me.
Yeah, I think there's, even, like, when I got on this, like, I noticed my personality shift, and it kind of caught me off guard, because I feel like I'm pretty good, like being a public facing human being and acting the same as I do in private that I do in spaces like this. And I've gotten comfortable now, but even at the very start, I was like, damn.
In a podcast setting? Yeah. People have told me this is the most vulnerable space, and I never thought about it like that.
How I respond to it is different than how I thought I would. I was like, damn, why am I not easygoing anymore? What the fuck's going on? Like, I just stopped. I've settled in now. Like, I feel better now. But like, even like that first like 10 minutes, I'm like, dang, what if I do stand up? And all the confidence and all the thought that I had, just like, and even if I do say some funny shit, like, I'm not always in that like headspace. I'm not like, I used to have like the general, like when people would be like, tell me about Jacob. Oh, he's funny. And he's like, that was like the only thing used to describe me. And I think it's because I didn't take myself seriously. I take myself dead serious now, more than I ever have, to the point where it's embarrassing. And it's hard for me to always break that, especially if I'm like, maybe I set it up and put it in my head that I'm going to go. If I can't get out of that headspace of just being like, I don't even know. What if I don't execute? And I'm like, oh, but it doesn't matter. I'm in a bar with like 7 people there. Do I really care?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, that like kind of, I don't want to say like, my brother always says is like the sad clown, like kind of always on performance level.
Oh my fucking God. Well, yeah.
Like having to hold the room, like, because that's a pressure you've put on yourself kind of,
I feel like earlier I mentioned like spiritual discernment and just discernment in general, like empathy. And I think from how much emotional shit that I've experienced and like the life that I've lived, I know how I act in certain situations, and I'm really like self-aware when it comes to those like interactions, that when I see people not even maybe knowing that they're acting in a way that I'm like, oh, I've been vulnerable like that before, let me lighten the mood. Like,
Yeah.
I like can pick up on the subtle cues of people's shit because I know my subtle cues. Like I I'm like, damn, I feel like I need to liven the room up. I feel like I need to make people laugh. I feel like I need to take the pressure off of this person because they're not, you know, representing themselves well, or they're not, you know, whatever it is. I get this like defensive mechanism for strangers. And
Me too.
It's like bizarre.
Like I feel it so deeply when people are off, and I want to.
I'm like,
I get embarrassed for them.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, oh, I better like.
I like take
make it weird and weirder.
Yeah,
like let me get weird for them to feel less weird.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. And whether it's in that capacity or like kind of feeling the sad boy shit and then wanting to not be and presenting that how people know me. Like a lot of people who know me is just this like
jolly charismatic.
Jolly dude. And I'm like, damn. So when I'm like bummed at the shop because I'm a human being and I'm sad sometimes, people are like, dude, are you good? And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. Let me be fucking sad for like
having days
here.
of quiet and introspection is hard for people.
Yeah, they see the clown makeup still, right? But it's just a sad dude in there every now and then.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's real. Sometimes I smile and the laugh lines are breaking the paint and I'm stoked. But then it's almost like that looming, the shame spiral. You just like fuck.
Yeah, like kind of almost, I don't know if this is what you're saying, but like that, oh, I'm responsible for everyone's feelings if I'm not being like.
Somewhat. I think I shed that responsibility feeling a while ago.
But that can be a hard one for people in our empathetic.
Yeah, honestly, you
state.
Might be right. I might have to look at myself in that and see if I can break some of those. Honestly, those shackles, that responsibility. Like
I do that a lot.
I tend to like, I've built a stable life for myself without like the help of other people. So when I see people that are in positions that I'm in, because I was maybe struggling at one point, I try and like throw myself at the help, like in help of others, sometimes to my own downfall, whether it's emotionally, socially, physically, mentally. Yeah, it is a responsibility.
Well, you're the leader too, so I think like when you're thinking about leadership and you're like running this barbershop, there is like some sense of like I am kind of, I don't want to say setting the tone, but like
no,
I feel responsible or something like
I guess,
which I feel is normal too.
Yeah, it's when it carries though. Because I do have a responsibility to the people that I've hired on. Anybody, whether that's a new barber or someone that's been with me now for a year or so. It's I think Enneagram explains it well, or maybe it's.
I haven't done that, by the way. I want to find out my number.
It's awesome.
What are you?
I'm a 2. I forget the wings.
I was like, yeah, and what?
I think I'm a 2 wing 4.
And what is that for you? Like, do you know what like that describes?
I think when I read it and did it, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And my girlfriend watches the podcast, and so I'll be listening, and like maybe a 2 will be on, and they'll explain it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I resonate. And my girlfriend's a 4. So the way it works is it's kind of like a circle where whatever your number is, you have 2 wings.
Oh, okay.
And what I was kind of getting at earlier with like that responsibility feeling is like within turbulence or within healthy is when it's okay to be that way. But I have to be cautious in moments of turbulent responsibility or turbulent, toxic, take control of the room to make people feel some type of way, like that controlling feeling. I really have to be cautious with that. But when I'm in, I don't know the correct term, but when I'm in non-turbulent feeling and I feel healthy and I'm secure within myself and I don't have those struggles, that's when I'm the best human that I can possibly be. That's when it's good to have a responsibility to help other people. And I'm doing it without covering up my own shit. It's after I've kind of covered my own shit, which I'm in a season of right now. It feels good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Because then you're helping and you don't feel that sense of like
it's not weighing on me.
Yeah,
I
like
can help and leave.
Codependency or like it's like your cup is running dry from pouring in right now. Like it isn't. Like you're feeling good about like helping others or pouring into others, which I think there is like a balance or difference when I'm in turbulence like that. Yeah. And it's just draining me and I'm not being replenished.
And your body, it's almost like you're like an ant just following the hive signal. Like, fuck, help. Like, nah, dude, chill, fucking relax, then help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a hardwiring. If you've acted like that long enough, it's just a habit. You're habitually helpful to the point where it's kind of probably a problem.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I think actually, I never thought about this. Your guys' profession is really the helping profession. Yeah. Like I always hear these jokes about like, oh, I go to my hairstylist, my therapist. Like they refer to you guys as therapists. And my hairstylist has been cutting my hair since I was 9. Yeah. Department Z, Zoe.
Let's
Poison.
go. I love Zoe.
Yeah.
I love Zoe. Her little Spokane stickers.
I want her to be on this podcast. I told her this last time I told her, but I always feel grounded when I'm in her space and I feel a sense of home with her. And so she knows everything about me. Yeah. And I think about that. How
many other people?
Spaces that you guys are holding for people.
A lot.
And
a lot, to the point where like it could make me cry. Like the amount of energy that it takes. But also the amount of like, it's like I think sometimes I don't acknowledge that clients have generous attributions, or like they give the benefit of the doubt, like you, like when I'm having a bad day, or maybe she's not as talkative, or maybe I'm not as talkative. You guys are aware that we're people.
Yeah, no, I honestly go in there and I'm like, I want to know about you. Like, how are you?
Because that gets so hard. You're probably asking intentionally, but all it takes is building a culture. The culture of my barbershop is super communicative. Like,
yeah, you guys are.
And sometimes I'm not in that space. So maybe you're coming in, you're like, I want to know about you.
But she's like, bro, I'm tapped.
But you're not able to express that because she probably does have like carefree. I'm totally speaking like
but no, I think that is like your
using that like example. Like there's times where I have every intention of wanting to build a deeper relationship with my clientele, or trying to express like how much I care about them through self-sharing, because I just love to do that. I love to tell people about my life and let them know me so I can know them.
And then they connect with you deeper.
Yeah, but in moments and seasons where I'm not ready for that, sometimes months where I'm like, dude, if you ask about me, I'm going to fucking freak
Slap
out.
You.
Yeah, like, and it sucks. And that's that burnout. That's that side effect of turbulent responsibility. That's the side effect of dealing with people that aren't on the same page. I don't even know how to really explain it. Like, that's just depression. And it will eat me fucking alive sometimes, because every now and then I'm not on my best for clientele, and then the people that I kind of have those superficial relationships with, where you see them and you're like, dude, what's up?
Yeah.
But then you're like, I love doing that with you, but sometimes I'm fucking not feeling it. Now all of a sudden you think there's a problem because... And
now you think I'm an asshole.
Yeah, you think I'm an asshole, or you have a negative interaction with me because I'm seeing 10 to 12 people a day, and sometimes 3 of those people are people that I consider like my like bucket to bucket sharing people. Fuck, man, I don't have the energy. I don't like, it's fucked. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about some of these people, but I also give the most fucks about some of these
you
people.
Do. Yeah.
And that's like,
I get what you're saying.
It's like feels not in the medical sense, but just like that bipolar feeling of like sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off, to like a gnarly level. But
that is part of being neurodivergent too. Yeah. Like sometimes I go into almost debilitating levels where I'm like, I need to like get totally removed from humans to reset.
Crawl into a hole and be okay with it.
Yeah,
dude. I used to do that in high school, and I don't do it anymore, and I don't know why. That's part of the reason I got kicked out. I would skip class, and I would fuck off, and I'd take my car and a hammock and a journal, and I would just drive like north into Newman Lake or Colville.
No way.
And I just stay out there. Mom was like, where the fuck are you?
Wait, did they kick you out for attendance reasons? Like not attending?
Attendance and just fucking problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, just problematic kid. Always fucking up. And
yeah, those are my people, as you know.
Yeah.
Those are the people I'm most drawn to helping.
I lived authentically from beginning to end, dude.
Yeah.
Problematically, non-problematically. But it's because of that, like, taking the punishment square on the chin. I never tried to, like, disavow it. I was always like, yeah, okay, that's my behavior. No matter how bad. I always try to take accountability. It's difficult. It's really fucking difficult. And it slaps your ego. Some stuff gets held over you. But, I mean, that's why I got this bullshit. It's like I like to wear my heart on my sleeve. But I would take that, and sometimes it'd be too much. And in moments like what we were talking about, that just, like, isolation, I'd dip for, like, a day or two. And I just crash out in wherever up
So
north.
you don't do that anymore? You don't need that kind of reset from humanity?
I do need it, but I have, and this is to no fault of my partner or my friends, but I feel like I have different obligations that I can't get away from. Like, I love being with my people.
Yeah. So maybe it's filling you instead of depleting you.
Maybe they'll fill half the bucket, but going out would fill the whole bucket. And I think I compromise knowing that at least I'm getting filled.
Yeah.
You know, and I wonder how often I do that in life. More than just that. How
Yeah.
much do I compromise a half full cup instead of a full cup?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You live by yourself too, though.
No, we actually live right over here.
Oh yeah, you're like close to this. Yes, and I used to live in the San Marco, across the street from you. Yeah. I lived there for like 10 years. It was a really cool experience.
I
Yeah.
fucking love living downtown.
I kind of miss it, but then I also, like I was talking about, because I'm immersed with humans all day, I kind of love, well, I'm still in a neighborhood. I'm in Audubon.
You're still getting, like,
Yeah.
dude, yeah, but you're away. You're in a house.
I'm in a house. I live by myself.
I, like, trip on something and say, fuck, and my neighbor's like, hey, keep it down, asshole. Like, I get it, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm loud as fuck. I'm a loud person, so I've been craving a house. I love living downtown, but I'm craving a house.
Are you?
Yeah, I want to fucking break a wall and paint something and, like, get random weird art, bizarre shit. I want to create and play my music loud and fucking run around the house naked. I don't know. I want to be an individual without fear of, like, bothering somebody else. Can you really recharge in an environment where you're trying to be considerate of someone you haven't even met?
Yeah.
No.
They're like just listening to
the person every part upstairs. Of you. Yeah, it's annoying, dude.
Yeah, I just remember pissing off all my neighbors because I play bass. Yeah. I also sing.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I'm really loud.
Dude, it's like living around people for an ADHD person is like the death of your hobbies. Is what I experience. It's fucking wild.
Because I paint, which I don't know, that really impacts people.
It's more of a hyperfixation in the moment, but maybe it's not, you know, but like I don't feel like I have
with all our
freedom.
Hobbies.
Yeah. Maybe I want to fucking get into blacksmithing and I built a home force and I'm fucking making banging noises.
Yeah, I was for a minute reupholstering furniture and
dude.
Ripping and tearing.
Yeah,
like people are probably like, shut
things
the
on the wall. Make
up.
Fit, dude. Yeah, they don't want that.
Yeah, and I rearrange, I buy furniture, I'll flip furniture and trade it.
Yeah,
So then it's like, wow, we're moving shit constantly.
It's so fun. But
Too
it's
loud,
dude.
Too loud.
Yeah, I would break out in song all the time. I wanted to be a singer forever. And
Did you really?
Fucking belting in my house. Yeah, put something on, fucking sing, dude. I love it.
Dude, I gotta send you this TikTok I started watching yesterday where they're giving like at-home singing lessons, and I've been like doing like these
Can
lessons.
I do that? No, I can't. Shut up! You're flat.
Like I was plugging my nose yesterday and getting like
Shakira.
nasal. Well, she was doing actually Celine Dion. Like if you want to hit these notes like this, like plug your nose and then continue. Like.
So you're taking singing.
I'm doing it on my own.
That's
but like,
you're watching YouTube videos, self-taught.
Dude, I've like this is really random, but I've also like installed lights in my house via YouTube. I've put in a C wire to have Google Home, you know, like thermostat. Dude, no, so like YouTube can teach me everything.
YouTube taught me so much. There was this page when I was younger. I used to like follow all the like toxic dude stuff, like alpha male.
What?
And
Were
how
you
to
into
be a
this?
man.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I don't think I was doing it to try and
Lord, help
I
us.
wasn't trying to like assert dominance.
You're gonna just be a patriarchy asshole. Someone I'd probably be fighting with.
I was raised in a Christian conservative household. And that was the
How are you so kind and I don't hate you?
Because I look at myself. I can look at myself and be like, dude, fuck that guy. I think like that. Like I can't believe like the way that I used to act. I literally am baffled by my behavior sometimes.
I think that's beautiful to speak to white men about that behavior and that vulnerability of,
it's hard,
maybe
dude.
I am being
because
like
you
this.
have to take accountability. It's not hard to take accountability of your actions. It's hard to take accountability for the people that you fucking hurt along the way being an asshole. That's what's hard.
That's really hard.
It's hard to fucking realize that you crossed a line with people that never want to see you again, that never want to talk to you again.
Ugh, that's
even
really
after
hard.
you've put in the work years later and you truly are a different person, you've reconciled with yourself, you've repented, you've changed, they don't fucking care because of who you were. And that transactional relationship has happened so many times with me. How could I not be a different person. I fucking hate the dude that hurt that person.
Yeah.
You know, I fucking hate that version of me. I'm proud of who I was because it was really me. So I actually had something to change.
Yeah.
I was fucking really me, and I really hurt you.
Yeah.
And I was really not okay. But I fucking hate him more than you do. And I changed him. I killed him. He's dead to me now. I'm this person now. But you can't tell that to someone you fucked over.
Yeah.
You can't tell that to someone who sees you a certain way. They're in their own time, their own healing.
Yeah.
So am I. And so I, you know, when I was younger, I had all these ideas of what I thought it was to be a man, of what I thought it was to be a human being, to be successful, to be a friend, to be a partner, that I realized were archaic and built within that conservative Christian household, which I'm glad I had an anchor because it taught me to be really within, like, myself.
I love that.
And that authenticity, I'm just so glad that's what I actually got. If I take nothing, and I love my family, what they taught me, but if I take nothing, they taught me that. Just that raw, like, dude, be you. And I was. And for literally for better or for worse. But those videos I would watch were like,
yeah, I'm like, can we? I kind of. I was like, can we go back to
like an ADHD tangent?
No, it's like I love that
Yeah.
because I'll be in a dark. Like I'm really.
Yeah,
we're going on a
fucking
soapbox
go.
here, dude.
But anyways, I was thinking about.
But let's go back to like.
They were sick. I learned how to whistle and shine shoes.
Did you really?
Yeah, dude. I would buy shoe shining kits, and I was learning how to shine shoes. I got really into pipe tobacco.
What?
And like I was
This
like
sounds
getting,
like an ADHD
novelty
life.
pipes, and I was like going to Tobacco World and being like, "What's your nicest briar?" Like,
Do you still smoke
yeah,
tobacco?
dude.
I love going and smoking cigars at the casino. Like
something
I have
fire
like
flames.
I
Yeah.
love tobacco. Like I know it
Same.
really shouldn't be smoking, but like I
Dude,
do have a
fuck it, we're all gonna
fascination with
die.
tobacco being just like a natural
I
like
mean, the reason I started any type of nicotine or smoke product, I can't smoke weed anymore. My body just can't fucking handle it. I think I'm like fucking borderline schizophrenic when I'm on that shit.
Really?
Yeah, I just think it brings out like any latent mental illness I have.
I just saw an article that they're saying schizophrenia has
Yeah.
increased for youth
Yeah.
that are really
Mhm.
highly involved in weed. And I
Yeah,
was like,
I had
wow,
to
that's
chill.
so, it was in the Washington Post. I want to
Freaked me
dive
out.
deeper into that article
Freaked me out, dude.
because I've seen a bigger increase
Yeah.
of mental illness. Like, and I don't know.
It's so helpful too. Like it's not for everybody.
No.
I don't ever want people to blanket statement shit. That
Oh,
like,
hell no. Because I'm
It
like, I
only
can see
applies
the
to me.
huge benefits
so
for
many
people.
benefits.
For
And
pain.
CBD, yeah, it's a great thing. But for me, no. I start seeing shit genuinely, and I start. Have you ever been disassociated, where you like exist behind yourself almost, and everything moves just frame by frame?
I would say when I'm
It's-
having sometimes like severe panic attacks in
Yeah,
the past
yeah,
where
yeah.
I am like having almost out of body experience.
dude.
Like
It's
I don't really
insane.
have that anymore, but and when I grew up in some really high trauma.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I've noticed I mean this is probably like really really personal,
Yeah, no.
deep, but when I was with like an abusive partner, like
Yeah.
I was using that to cope. Like I was disassociating.
Using it-
Literal
oh,
disassociation to survive.
Yeah.
Like that pain and suffering. Like I remember my therapist saying, "Why don't you?" Because I'm a intense person.
Yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah.
passionate, very vocal.
Yeah.
But when I'm with like an unsafe human,
Dude,
you know, like I
cripples.
saw that part of me, like, oh, this child that would disassociate with some trauma going on in their house
Yo.
was disassociating with this partner and becoming like, you know, they talk about flight,
Yeah.
you know, all of
Fight,
that.
flight,
I'm a
freeze.
freezer, which
Yeah.
a lot of people wouldn't know that about me because my
No.
nickname is Mad Dog. And
Yeah.
I say
She's a
Italian
fighter.
mafia, like
Yeah.
on people. But that part of me, like what you're talking about, like I'd be like
Trauma, dude.
watching this and I'd be like, I'm not even me right now.
Yeah.
I'm back here
It's
and this, I'm
fucking
experiencing
terrifying.
this, but I'm over here.
And like you're almost too aware of your limbs, your body, your everything. You're just so focused, like locked in.
Yeah.
You're locked inside of yourself. That's insane too. First off, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Thank
I know
you.
that probably means fucking.
No, I think it's
But,
it's
like-
really good when men like it's healing for me when
Yeah.
men say that because I'm like I don't know, I think it goes kind of unacknowledged a lot for women and men experience abuse
Yeah,
too.
well, there's always something to apologize for when trauma's in the picture. There's always something that like the little Maddie inside of you. is
Have you
hurt
ever done
way
empty
too bad.
chair?
No.
Have you ever had a therapist do that when you were talking about like that part of you that was like mean or had this like past, like
No.
part of Empty Chair, it's Gestalt, the psychologist, theorist, like his intervention was that you talk to yourself, that person, and maybe you're forgiving that person yourself. Or like me, I've had therapists have me talk to that little like
you take care of who got you to this point.
Even if you were doing that bad stuff or whatever, like you can talk to him and forgive him. You know what I mean? Like I think that's a beautiful practice in therapy.
So my version of it, or maybe just the Christian version of it.
Okay.
When I was raised, my mom would talk to me about giving it to God. Right. And I think people look at that loosely, like as a way of avoiding discipline.
Yeah.
Oh, I gave it to God. I'm good now. No, it's the same as that there. It's not about getting good with the world. It's about getting good with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would do is any hurt that I've caused, any hurt that I felt, and my grandpa talked to me about this too. You just, it's acknowledging who you are, who you were. The whole point of the baptism is going in, coming out different, a public recognition of your faith declaration. You can do a spiritual baptism as well. You can do just that raw, like, acceptance. So repentance, reconciliation, and forgiveness. That's the cycle that is like the salvific factor, and then giving yourself to Christ. That's like the whole idea. So I would do that when I was younger, and I just remember, like, dude, I went through a lot of trauma too, and like I know that feeling of like it feels better to be trapped inside of your own head than to be present in the moment that's hurting you.
Yeah.
And I remember so many times I would just, people are like, how were you never angry at God for not saving you? Or how could a good God do that? It's like, dude, let's talk about the hurt. I'm hurting right now. Like, I'm not trying to fucking do apologetics and faith, because people would always.
But we're still autonomous. Is that something you believe, like the human still has that freedom or right to like make choice? That it isn't all up
and that's really what it
to
is.
God
like,
in that way.
It's hard to get into that faith spectrum and like try and explain my relationship with God, because I genuinely think I see it differently than modern Christianity. But yeah, that free will, that free choice.
Yeah, like your free will, exactly.
And to the most brutal effect. Like, sometimes there are horrible things that happen to people, not because of decisions that they made, but because they're a punishment for the actions of someone before. Like, why was I born with this, thing? It's like, well, mom was drinking a lot while you were pregnant.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not like, that's not like a God decision. That's a fucking human decision.
Totally.
And there's, what I believed when I was younger and going through so much of that hurt was like, dude, I just need I would give it to him, and I would do that. Like, I would address myself within my disassociation. And I felt so freed from that. And you could look at it secularly and call it that, like, talking to the younger you in the chair across from you, write a letter to your kid self.
Yeah.
To me, it was giving that kid self to God so that he could hold on to it.
Okay.
Because I didn't have the bandwidth to support myself. And I couldn't rely on my mom. I couldn't rely on my dad. I could, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
That might have been pride. Might have been ego.
Yeah.
But I really had a strong desire to, like, get out of that trauma, and that's where that maybe toxic responsibility to help people came from. And that's interesting. I'm sorry that happened to you too. I'm sorry that I can relate to that.
Yeah, I'm sorry too.
Like,
I mean, anyone who experiences, I don't even know your whole story, but I was like, dude, you're gonna have to come back on. I feel like I have so much more.
Trauma episode.
I was like,
talk about the itty gritties. Yeah, and I don't want to make you. I hope I didn't disenfranchise you by talking about mine over yours.
Oh, what? No, this is your episode, dude.
No, dude,
I'm interviewing you.
We're two people here. I saw a post the other day where it's like, dang, I'm sorry you felt like I went up to you. I was just trying to relate for real.
No. I find that to be, for me, I do the same thing. And some people will be bothered by that. Yeah. I think it makes me feel like it's community. It's not like you're isolated or alone when someone else sees you, has experienced
this is my
you.
story in the same vein. I've definitely pissed people the fuck off.
Me too.
I've like I love my friends that have told me this, but I've had people be like, dude, can you just let me fucking exist and have my fucking hurt and not try and put yours on top of mine? I'm like, well, I'm just trying to let you know I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm doing
sorry,
it in like,
dude.
yeah, what I think you're saying is like that empathetic way. Like I see you, I'm here for you, and I vibe this,
I'm
I
trying
feel
to feel
it.
the same fucking hurt that you feel, so that
And
I'm
take it
you're
off
not
of you.
alone.
Yeah.
Like I'm here, but like fuck.
Yeah.
It's
No,
a
I
shit,
love that.
So I hope I wasn't doing.
Oh, you did not at all.
Yeah.
No. If that felt more like one, because males have, maybe been I don't know, like
the perpetrators.
Yeah, I was like, I should stop using that word, but like kind of like the initiator of some trauma for me.
Yeah.
And when a man sees that, maybe like in me, or like, oh, you've experienced this, and I'm gonna acknowledge that's like men shouldn't do this. Being that they have, I mean, I have a ton of privilege as a white woman, but like white males are much even more privileged.
Absolutely.
And them saying or acknowledging that is just affirming to me, like, oh shit, like they acknowledge that hurt and pain. They don't think it's acceptable when you have been gaslit, when you've been told that didn't exist.
Would you say that was like your primary thing, was like you were living in somebody else's, like under somebody's truth, to the point where you just were like, this is normal, this is life, this is how it's supposed to be?
I think it's hard crazy when you come out to tell people. I mean, I haven't even been fully probably open or,
which is,
like about like that pain and suffering from, honestly, at the hands of a lot of men throughout my life, that I don't typically, you're told like you're exaggerating as a woman, like, like getting sexually harassed in a workspace, just like those experiences we have as a woman, and we're just told to internalize, or like, so kind of like what you're saying, like people have maybe not wanted it to be real and don't want people to be accountable. So they're like, shh, like silence that voice, for women.
Yeah, that makes.
I mean, that's why the Me Too movement ever got.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like happening.
I think seeing that like visceral response is the best thing that people can do, though. Like, what else is there to do but speak on it, take that action, fight back? It freaks me out. Like I'm like, I can't believe that. It's like shocking how much it actually happens.
Oh,
and people are maybe even like working in a barbershop, all dudes. You fucking hear what people talk about. Some shit where you're like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean?
You know what? I just got this like fantasy or dream for your barbershop, which I think is actually happening just from you saying that, is like, oh, we're in a space where men are going to think that they can just dehumanize women or whoever.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm going to confront that, because I think that's the most powerful is men. We should have a group. Holding men accountable.
Barbers holding men accountable.
Yeah. Because that's where men, I mean, I've been in my brother's barbershop a couple times.
I respect how he runs his shit, dude.
Yeah, and I love that.
No nonsense.
I love coming as a woman into those spaces too. Like, I loved sitting in your barbershop. It felt really safe to me, to be honest. Yeah. Your space is really warm and welcoming.
That means a lot. We are pretty fucking dead serious about how we treat people.
Yeah, like just being able to chill on your couch and like talk with you.
It's not a fucking thing. It's like sick, because you're sick and we don't look at anything other than the merits of your character.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the fuck you are, dude.
Yeah.
That's like, I had to learn really hard lessons to get to that point. I had to go through a lot of fucking like misogynistic, a lot of just deprecating like behavior and thoughts. Even being raised by a single mom, I had to check my shit. Like thinking that I had that benefit of like, I almost was like a justification. Well, I was raised by a single mom, I could think this way. I can't even put a like descriptor on how that was. I just know that I was a fucking asshole. Yeah. And I didn't think of people in an equal manner. I didn't think of people in a way that like was conducive to, I think, healthy relationships. And I damaged relationships consistently with boys and girls, just like with that talk. It doesn't like, if even, let's say that you are just an asshole to one person or one group or one whatever, it affects everybody, even the people that are within the same shared circle of thought. Well, because you're just a hateful person.
Our neurons, so we're like picking up each other's energy. If you believe in that or not, it's like a fact. And so like what you're saying, like that kind of energy you're putting out to the world, even if it's like, I mean, it's as cheesy as that ripple like effect, you know, like, it's like I'm putting this out to these people, then they're going out to the world impacted by this energy. And then it's like spewing kind of that around.
The worst thing to be is like a part of the echo chamber. Yeah. Of people that are fucked up, just thinking it's okay to be fucked up and just echoing it to each other and just being fucked up like that.
Yeah.
So the hardest thing was to pull yourself out of it. But
no. I've been in that space and had to check myself too. Yeah. Even as a woman being toxic, like about other women and shaming and mean and the gross behind the,
it really is. And it affects everybody. And wait, like some people I would never expect. I'm like, damn, dude, fuck, you were one of the cool ones.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, what do you mean, dude? And I have to really check myself because I get irrationally angry at some people. Like to the point where I'm like, unfair in my feelings towards X, Y, or Z people because I'm like, if I fucking stop doing that, fuck you, pussy. Fuck you. I get so mad. It literally makes me so mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, especially if it's addressed and then it doesn't stop. I'm like, dude, that was the fucking checkpoint where you need to look at your, because I was never spared the punches when I was getting called out on my shit, and I loved it. I needed it, dude. I was like getting checked by people that I never thought would check me.
Yeah.
And it changed my fucking life. And
so you want to be that? Is that kind of what you're saying? No, you don't want to check them, but you find yourself wanting to like.
I just when it does happen and people still act or like hold in their heart the same toxic feelings, or they just act a certain way that's skeezy, I'm like, dude, you don't even understand how fucking damaging your shit is. I didn't. And now I get to see it, and I literally just, my skin crawls. Like, I'm sorry for my strong responses.
No.
It genuinely,
I get what you're saying.
It's hard to create that, like, in a kind way for me. And so I don't feel like I've earned the right to share that with people. So it's not my job to check people.
Okay.
I can't do it yet.
Yeah, I feel like, but I get like you do, like really angry when I see it.
Yeah.
Like I can relate to that, what you're saying, because and not in that I want to hold them accountable, but I get mad that no one's holding them accountable or something. Like, why isn't anyone else checking this person? Like, why is it just me like dying on this hill and no one else seems to care? Yeah. What is that bystander theory? This is weird, but like there's this theory in psychology where someone could be having a heart attack in the middle of New York City, right? And people will just walk over these bodies, people dying, because they're like, someone else will take care of it.
Yeah, I've seen that. Or like,
but that's kind of like, I don't know why I'm connecting that, but like, that's kind of like, but I'm more like, why am I the only one who wants to?
Doing it, you're the person that says call an ambulance when someone's hurting.
Yes, I'm immediately responding. I'll break up any fist fight that's going on. I'm always going to. I'm going to put myself in the inner mix of like protecting other humans.
That's that. I think we share some similar traits and tendencies.
I think so too.
That is that form of self-sacrifice that I felt like beholden to when I was younger, that kind of carries in somewhat now, where it's like, dude, fuck what I got going on. I need to do something about this. Yeah. Yeah, I think that just general mindset, like, it's fucking... It's hard. I'm still in like the infantile stages of like controlling even that in a sense, like jumping into the mix of something that's like an explosive response.
Is it a safe time to be doing this for me?
Am I making the best decision? So I'm like, I think that can happen verbally as well, to the point where I wonder this a lot with things. I never earn the right sometimes to be the person that checks that person. And will it actually get across? That's maybe you could say it's not just being a bystander. Sometimes, like, depending on if it happens in my shop, I'm gonna address it.
Because the buck stops with you in there.
That's the end of that. Like, fuck you and what you thought you were doing right here.
Yeah, I'm the owner. This is my barbershop.
Yeah, the business helped me too uphold my morals and values, because it gave me something extra to stand for. I had my own morals and values, but I'm not too rubber. Like, I'm not too... Like, someone says something, I'm not going to really be affected by it. But something in a space that I've deemed as open and welcome to all, when that's stepped on, I'm called to the shop's expectations that I set, not just my own. So I usually meet
it's like your norms, your rules of your
Hit the bricks,
space.
Dude. I'm done with that. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm so sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Not really.
No, it's like... sorry, not sorry. Like, this is how it's going down, because this is my
is.
space, and I have to set that, like, safety.
Yeah.
It's, like, the buck stops with you. So it's, you have to hold those standards for your barbershop.
It's harder in interpersonal. It's harder when you've a deep relationship with a human.
Oh, God.
That's kind of where my aggressive outburst came from earlier, because it's just like, it feels borderline hopeless sometimes, where I'm just like, what could I feel like I already have. And that, you feel like you already have, like, hit that point where, like, they just haven't picked up on it yet. Maybe that's my internal decision to be like, maybe it's time to move on from one thing or the other. And it's an interesting, I keep saying interesting.
Oh, one thing you'll notice about the podcast too, like, I'll listen back and I'm like, wow, I said like, so many like these weird like communication, I don't know, like, things that I do that I don't know until I'm actually hearing my voice play back. I'm like,
your misnomers.
Yeah, I'm like, why do I do that? It's so annoying.
Honestly, I actually really like that. I used to journal through voice memo, and I just would talk into my thing.
Oh, I like that.
And I would like hyper analyze my conversation, because I would this may be weird. I would record myself, but I would talk into a mirror.
Whoa! Yeah. So you could, like, see it.
Because I wouldn't treat myself like a reflection. I would treat myself like I was venting to a person, and I would pause with, like, their responses to my shit.
Dang,
and
this
it would,
is
like,
intricate.
It's fucking weird, but I would, like, I would say something, and then what I would expect myself to say back to what I just said. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I would record it, and one, it was really helpful in addressing, like, I would be like, you miserable, stupid fuck. Like, why do you even care? Like, I'd get over it. I'd be like, it's not even that bad. But it would help me either A, like, you ever listen to somebody else's problems? You're like, well, I would have just done this.
Every day as a counselor.
I did that to myself. With my own shit, I did it to myself. And I would be like, man, I would just do, you fucking moron. Why don't you just do this? And I'd be like, oh, why don't I just do this? Like,
dude, that's kind of like this role playing with yourself.
Yeah,
like,
in a weird,
the therapist and the
weird
client.
Way, dude.
You're the therapist and the client.
You can listen to it, and then just, like, it's almost like if you can differentiate, like, your two, like, different call and response conversation with yourself. It's fucked up. I don't know if it's normal. I don't know if it's okay. I don't know if there's, like,
I'm into this because drama theory, like, around therapy, is this. It's acting and using acting as an intervention theory.
Yeah, no, that's
so you're kind of like, I'm not trained in this, so I don't want to even speak to it, like, as an expert. But
go for it, dude.
I feel like if I was gonna guess, I feel like it's something similar to this. Like, you're almost like improving, but not like.
Yeah, no.
You know,
yeah,
like 100%. Out healing yourself.
Yeah. That's how I would do. I just remember it too, because I'd always, like, talk like this, like I was, like,
leaned up against. He's currently leaned against a wall.
Yeah.
with his head against the board. You can't see this, but I am watching it.
Yeah, I'd just be sitting and I'd, like, talk to myself in that way, and I, like, almost nonchalantly, like, and it did feel movie-esque because there was a lot of ego tied to it. There really was, because I only did it when I was younger, but it helped me the fucking most. And I would address to bring it full circle, the point that I was trying to make from that was what you had said, where you'll listen back and you'll be like, damn, I talk like this a lot. And so I would re-listen through those, and I would hyper-analyze my conversations with myself. And I would be like, I need to address the way that I'm doing this. I need to acknowledge the communication point, or I need to be more articulate when I say this, or I need to be more. And so I can be as judgmental as I want with myself. Like I said, earlier, I have a good sense of self-security to the point where I'm like, I can talk harshly to myself, harsher than anybody ever could, and I could actually, like, get through, you know?
And it doesn't feel toxic or shame.
But it's hard. It's like in a no-nonsense, like, oh, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. In a way, you should never talk to another human being.
But, like, you can, because you feel safe within yourself, is what you're saying.
In certain relationships where I'm super secure, I'm still softening it, but I'm just like, hey, this is the point-blank period of the situation, and I just want to get it straight across so that there's no room for miscommunication. So I have that with myself. But it kind of started from that, like, self-improv. So, yeah,
I love this.
I would listen back on my shit, too, and be like, damn, I say yeah a lot, or I say fuck, or interesting.
And I say, yeah, I'll say, yeah, I like this. I love it. Like, over and over.
Yeah.
Like, I bet if I had to do this a lot in graduate school, what you're talking about, like watching myself as a therapist. So I'd film sessions and then grade myself. So I've had to do a lot of that work being like, wow, you make this face. You look really harsh when you're doing this, or you're saying this. So it almost feels like this when, you know, like the client's responding this way to you. It was really helpful. And I wish I honestly still did that
Applied
work.
it more. Yeah. I didn't
This
even
kind
know
of is
that was a
doing
thing.
it in some ways
because we'll
for
listen
me.
back.
And I'll like be like, oh Lord,
We'll both
why
be
did I
sitting there
say
with
this
our
again?
teeth clenched and just be like,
That's so
even
crunchy.
at the start when I was like,
crunchy.
I was like, what do they do, dude? when we first started and you were like, can you talk into the mic? Can you talk into the mic? Can you talk into the mic? I'm like, oh, there's wire over here. Like, just fucking completely ignoring you. I'm like, dude, fuck.
But we weren't technically on yet, but we were testing.
Still, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, just fucking, like, try listening, dude. Like, what are you doing?
I don't listen either, so
fuck.
I feel like I'm empathetic to my ADHD brothers and sisters.
It's fucking... Even I'm going to listen back and be like, man, how many times did she make a point and then you just tangented into a different point?
I'm sure I did the same. We'll be listening to each other do that today.
We'll cringe together. I mean...
Well, I was actually going to say, like, on that note, we've already recorded for a minute.
Yeah,
so I was like...
screen time too.
Oh, yeah, and I got to fucking edit. Or
Yeah.
I don't really... Actually, I do not edit this. I'm decolonizing podcasts. I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to... rawly do this. Maybe when I introspectively look back, I'll do some stuff. But right now, I'm just really wanting to connect to humans in Spokane community. This has built a community with my podcast already. I hope you'll be back on at some point if you like it or want to do. We can even pick a topic that we specifically hone in on.
I'm into it. We just recorded fucking a therapy session, basically.
Well, so
or just the birth of like a closer friendship.
Honestly, I hope so because you're awesome and I really connect to your story. I always have. Just your energy is awesome.
That means a lot.
And I thank you for being on because it is vulnerable. And my friends who play music said this is more vulnerable than me like getting up and playing bass on stage. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, it's not. This is
my idea of like what people say like deep friendship. This is what that looks like, and we just recorded it because usually I'll have these interactions in my shop or at someone's house or over a drink. But being able to record that, I think that's something that's going to forever feel really special to me.
Every person,
being able to have that.
I agree with you. I think it's funny. A lot of like Big Ed was just on you, and then one of my really closest friends was on. But really, a lot of the people that are going to be on this, we haven't had a deep relationship, but now we're going to.
Hoping that it fosters that.
Isn't it? It's not been my closest friends that I've been inviting on. It's been people I want to know better.
Yeah. It's interesting. It really is interesting. I'm curious. I curiously wonder if you'll maybe acknowledge stuff about yourself moving forward, like how you interact with strangers, like the facade of your character versus the facade of your character with your friends when you do get them on. It'd be so interesting to have that self like analysis of like how do I act like nurturing deep relationships with strangers versus with my friends.
Are there
parallels?
Dude, you could analyze Madeline's close friendship podcast, Madeline's new podcast.
And then seeing where the parallels are between like the strangers who then enter into that like friend podcast. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. If I were in your position, I'd be like, interesting. What a character study like on me or you or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Because I love interpersonal, just building relationship in general.
So do I.
Yeah.
I think that's why we didn't need a script for this.
No, and that's why I'm going unscripted too. Like, I feel safe with you. Like people I've chosen to be on the podcast. Means a lot. Yeah. I feel really, really safe with the people. So even if I was being a mess, like you guys would just be like, all right, dude, Madeline's ADHD tangent, whatever she just said.
Not
like,
even, dude. Just double
no
down.
Judgment.
Double down, dude. You know what? Me too.
Yeah. And so I don't know. With that, every time I've had someone on, I've asked them kind of, they think it's so cheesy, but I'm like, what is kind of like your words of wisdom as we close to people in Spokane or something inspiring to people in Spokane as we end this episode?
This is where I get the most jaded because I watch so much media that, maybe this will be it. I'll tie into it with a little fucking podium speech. I see so many videos like, what's your advice to other hairstylists or to other creators or the other things? And it's like, work hard. You're going to get it. Fucking focus on what you believe in. Don't let anybody... Fuck that, dude. It's so annoying to hear. It really is. It's not real. I think my only advice would be be belligerently honest with yourself. Just like that outrageous amount of honesty, like thinking the thought that you're too scared to fucking let pop into your head, that dark, deep thing. What personality traits fucking came out of that? What other secrets have you allowed yourself to fucking hide and change your personality because of it? Because I fucking figured mine out, and it's changed my life, and I don't really hold shit like that anymore, and I get to live just like this little tattoo with the heart on my
a
sleeve.
literal heart on your sleeve.
Yeah.
They can't see it, but it's beautiful.
Good. It feels really good, and that, I mean, I don't know if it's advice. I feel even weird saying that.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm still trying to figure out my verbiage for that, but I'm like, what are just final thoughts to people essentially that you want to?
I mean, that's kind of where all my ability to be vulnerable, like we have been, just that raw vulnerability came from. Like when you don't feel like you have any, you don't need to be public about it. You don't need to share it to the world. But when you're able to self-address those deep, dark secrets and like actually bring them up, maybe write down word for word what happened to you or what you did to someone else, and just get that shit off your chest. You're going to free yourself from so much more hurt and open up the door for so much more good.
I agree and believe that. Yeah. Fully.
I'd say that's my send off.
All right. I love that
myself
too.
To the same standard.
I'm going to say I love that.
I love that, dude.
I love it.
Interesting.
All right. Well, that closes out my, I guess, third real episode because I did like an intro, but this is the third guest to have on. And so if you made it to 1 hour and 20 minutes, you're a badass, and we thank you. And
I hope that wasn't too much.
No, you're great. Thank you, Jacob, for being on. And I don't know who's on next because every week I ask somebody new.
Thanks for having me on.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.